Hey, you guys, thanks for listening in to this episode of Tips with Tea. So on today, I have Miss Jennifer with us. Hey, Miss Jennifer, how you doing today?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm awesome. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Well, it's great to be here. I love the podcast that you're doing. And I know I've already learned a ton from the other entrepreneurs that you've had on here and have featured. So I just think they're fantastic. So kudos to you. I really love helping referral based business owners who are in kind of early growth mode, that 2 to 10 years in business, to eliminate a lot of the hassle and hustle for how can they scale sustainably. Whether they're struggling with not knowing what to do, how to do it, or they're trying to just do too much, kind of that shiny object syndrome. Playmaker really helps them get to the next milestone in their business.
Awesome. So tell us, why did you start your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what a journey it's been. I used to work for a large corporation, as many people in your audience may have. I sat in dozens of meetings every day with business partners where I was trying to create solutions when they didn't even understand the world of a small business owner. Then I'd have a call with Bill or Susan, one of my clients, and they were so frustrated, confused, and getting really mixed messages on how can they scale their business and achieve the next milestone. There were tons of resources available to them, but they either didn't know how to integrate them, or sometimes that they even existed. There was just too much information. But because I worked in a corporate environment, I really had to make sure to follow company protocols. And I knew I couldn't help my clients in the way that they needed it. I felt like I was speaking a different language sometimes because I wanted to focus on the problem that we were trying to solve rather than leading with any particular solution that was a corporate objective that we may have. I wanted to really guide them on how to navigate marketing instead of bombarding them with irrelevant information or a process that was too cumbersome or they never had enough time to implement in their business. I want to make things easier with for my clients so that they can convert more clients, get more of the right types of clients in their business, and create more raving fans. So I sat at my desk one day and said, there's got to be a better way. I believe there's got to be a better way. And I knew that for small business owners, they needed something more in a simpler way that was more effective for them. So that's when I decided I was going to create this system that was a right size marketing for small business owners to drive more results, bring them the best of the best, and really give them a system that allows them to not only rely on phone calls and referrals to get business growth. There has to be a way to cut through the noise and get better clients faster. So luckily for me, our corporation that I was a part of went through a reorg, and they gave me the gift that I may not have given myself, what turned out to be the best decision I ever made. It was time to do what I was doing for my clients for the last 2 decades and do the same thing for myself. So for the first time in my career, I could help my clients in the way I knew that they really needed. So I believe that they deserve a plan and a system that's really quick to develop, implement, and will grow with them as their business evolves. So now, instead of just having a good solution or someone else's solutions, they have the right solution for them. Instead of getting stuck or overwhelmed with where to start or too many ideas, marketing becomes doable in 2 to 3 easy steps that we build on each 90 days. And instead of it being disjointed or having multiple people, they really have a playmaker to help them deliver the results. And I know my story is not unique. You probably hear it when you talk to other people as well. Many people struggle with how do you be intentional with working on your business and not feel overwhelmed. So I believe the answer isn't in that 20-page annual plan that sits on the shelf. It's not about more, but it's about that rinse and repeat model for continuous growth. And that's what I really love helping my clients with.
Awesome. So I'm glad when you talk about the challenges that we face. So, of course, for the business owners, the pandemic has been a major, major challenge during this time. So what are some things that can kind of help them overcome this challenge and help them to grow and still be able to market their business? I know you mentioned the 90-day plan and the playmaker and stuff, but tell us a little bit more about those and, how they can possibly help.
Yeah, and I think the one of the biggest things that I think that we need to remember as business owners is, research and the test of time have shown that those companies that are able to stay in it during these challenging times, they come out over 256% ahead of those that don't. So, just by sticking in it, you're giving yourself such a big advantage. But let me give them three factors that I think will really help them stay ahead of the competition. And I refer to this as the SVC approach. So first off, you want to be strategic. Second, start with value. And third, be consistent. And let me tell you a little bit about how you do each of those areas, because I think we all know these things, but it's so difficult to actually implement. But these are the areas that I find small business owners have the best intentions with, but we struggle with every day the most in our business. So first, be strategic. Ask yourself these three questions. What is the biggest challenge for you, and how can marketing really help address that challenge? Start there. What is your objective for how you're using marketing today? For example, for social, is your goal to communicate? Is it to educate, or is it to engage? By understanding what your goal is, we can make sure we're using it in the right way. And who is your ideal client, and what's your unique value that you provide them? What problem do you solve? One of the biggest things that I see is that we often try to serve everyone. Yeah. And we lead with solutions rather than problems. But if we can speak in the language of your consumer and, what are the problems that they're saying? What are they staying up at night telling their spouse or their brother, like, oh, I'm struggling with X. If you can lead with that, you're more likely to connect, and then align all your presence across all your digital platforms, your language, your tone, your images to support that. And I guarantee you're going to attract more people rather than alienate people. So one thing that they can do today to get started is to just have a marketing management meeting each week. Maybe it's 15 minutes once a week. It doesn't have to be extensive, but just this opportunity to really talk about your marketing and your client experience and what you want to provide. And that's a great place to start with how can you be more strategic and intentional. So if we want to go into, how can you lead with value? We have the best intentions. I know everybody does. That's why you're in business, is to help people. But we often jump right into what do we want? When we're connecting on social, is it about, really creating a connection or just one more contact? How can you lead with value? Even better than just might be, how do you show up on other people's content? Or can you comment? Can you engage in their social, their blog, or their email in a genuine way first? Recently I was working with one of my clients, Daniel, and he wasn't on social, but when we started to talk about engaging in other people's social rather than his posting, he got really excited. And in our first quarter working together, he started seeing more of his ideal clients than ever before, just by connecting authentically with them. So here's a ninja tip I like to give people for your social content. Research a handful of your best or your ideal clients on social. See what platforms they're using and how. What are they commenting on? What are they posting about? You can start to tell what they really care about by what they're putting out there. And then you can develop messages that are authentic to you around those themes. And then the last area I said was like, be consistent. So this is probably the most challenging I find for small business owners. Creating a marketing playbook for success that you can build on each quarter is going to make the difference for you. Less is more. So 2 to 3 new strategies each quarter that you build on and continue to review and refine. Think about it like phase 1, phase 2, that really allows you to embrace progress over perfection. So what can you commit to today and build on over time? For example, when I first started doing Facebook Lives, it was really uncomfortable for me. And, they were not perfect by any means. But what I realized is now that I've showed up every week at the same time for over a year, I've been doing it. I've gotten much more comfortable with it. It's still not perfect, but they're much better than they were in the beginning. And, people love that human piece that you bring in those imperfections as well. So documenting your marketing management, your sales cycle processes, and who's responsible for what and when really allows you to start to create that consistency and that consistent experience with your brand, because you want people to know what can they really expect of you and what will they think of you when they hear your brand. So another thing you can do is to create a content calendar and a library. So you never have to ask yourself, what do I post today? I don't have any ideas. What can I put out there? That you actually have that library. And one of the easiest way to do that is to just write down, what are you hearing from clients about? What conversations are you having? And talk about that. But the most important thing you can do is to schedule time for SAM. And I mean by SAM, sales and marketing.
Mhm.
Don't just date Sam, be married to Sam, make it part of what you do. We're so
Mhm.
often focused on sales, we forget about the marketing side and think that can come later.
Yeah.
So everyone's going to tell you the measure of success in marketing is around, how many followers do you have or what's your ranking on SEO? But what I'm telling you is it really should be about having that marketing playbook that's going to lead to that compound growth.
Yeah. Consistency is key. I mean, like you said, finding something that you can also build upon. I mean, it might not happen right then and there, but once you start doing it consistently, that will come.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably saw that too, of like when your first podcast
I,
episode versus where you're at today.
right. I
Sometimes you just
have.
have to get started and keep doing it. And then all of a sudden you never know exactly when that turning point is going to be, that tipping point, but eventually, you'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Miss Jennifer, what other services are you offering during this time that you're starting to see that are very high demand right now?
Yeah. So, one of the most questions I get is, Jennifer, just can you help me with creating a marketing playbook for success? And the answer is yes, definitely. Every day I work with small business owners and I help them develop and implement right-sized marketing plans that deliver those results. So the next step for the audience, if they're interested, is to really get their marketing season tickets. And what that is 4 quarterly 1.5 hour strategy sessions where we work through reviewing the last quarter efforts and developing that next quarter plan that's right-sized and addresses the things that are really you're getting in the way that can help them grow to the next level. And what it does is really allows me to speak directly into their business. So it's specific to them and their voice is heard. And what it ultimately means is that they don't have to do it alone. I think so often we feel like as business owners, it's up to us to figure it all out and we're on an island, but they'll know exactly how to apply what they've learned and their questions are going to be answered. So whether they're trying to figure out how to market their business or they have a marketing coordinator and could use some more strategic guidance, or, they feel like they're a marketing pro, this is something that everybody can use. There's always comes a time where we can leverage an expert, and the season tickets are the things right now that I think most people are getting the most value out of, is using those to really turn every interaction into a win.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. And in addition, anybody who's interested in that and signs up before October 15th, we're also going to give them the marketing playbook template as part of your, as a gift to your audience. So they get all the templates, which includes like your budget, your sales cycle process templates, your marketing management templates, your calendar, all those tools and everything. So you can really build out your playbook.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Jennifer, for being on the show today and sharing your tips. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share the social media handles. You can tell our listeners the best way they can get in contact with you.
Yeah. So, I'm on many of the different platforms. I'm probably most active on Facebook, but certainly you can reach me on any of them. And, I just kind of want to leave your audience with this one thought is, picture a day when, marketing is strategic and intentional. Picture a day when your colleagues ask you to speak about your marketing efforts and what's working. Picture a day when clients are sending you more and more unsolicited referrals. You're going to feel so good. So thank you so much for having me today. I hope this is helpful to your audience and certainly that they reach out with any questions that I can answer or resource I can be in any way.
All right. So what's your website? Because I see I didn't list the website. So what's the website?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's playmakercoach.com. Thanks. Yeah. And if they go to, I can make sure that you have it if you want to include it as well. For those season tickets, it's just playmakercoach.com/season-tickets. And they can learn more about what that looks like and reach out to me if that's something that they would like to have a conversation. I always do a free initial consultation to talk about, what their business looks like and, if there's any way that I can be of support.
Awesome. And if you guys want to get in contact with me, you can do so. My number is 910-317-0396. You can shoot me an email at contact@mjfinancial.biz. You can schedule a consultation, you guys, on the website for mjfinancial.biz. You can find this episode on Anchor, you guys, and you can also find this episode with a playback for the video on the YouTube channel as well. So thank you once again, Ms. Jennifer, for being a guest on the show. I highly appreciate you.
Yeah, you too. Like I said, this is fantastic. I think it's great that you put this out for people that are either business owners like myself or thinking about making the leap, that it helps them in their career journey. So thanks for having me on today. I hope it was helpful to everyone.
It was such a pleasure. And you guys, we will see you on the next episode of Tips with T.